Shark teeth through till a son boy better stay calm, be cool.
Thank you for killing my vibe. Anyway, yes, people. Hope you're all well and good. We are on the penultimate episode of the season, episode 9. So before the grand finale, I thought it would be good for us to link up and let our hair down a little bit, figuratively speaking. Whoever you are, whatever stage you are in life, whatever goals and ambitions that you have, we have to be conscious, and you have to be conscious and have a balance. In society, we talk about downtime, work-life balance, holidays, annual leave, screen breaks, etc., etc. But how much attention do we really pay to it? So what actually inspired me for this episode, not only was it that it's the penultimate episode, so I thought let's just change it up a little bit, but also I came across a quote on Instagram a few weeks ago. I've seen it before, but it stuck out to me. And that quote, and I'm sure, let me know if you've seen this one before, boys, but there's one where it says, 20 years from now, the only people who will remember that you worked late is your kids. I don't know if you've ever seen that quote.
I've never seen it, but boy.
Yeah. See, I started to think whether there was some truth behind that, because maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe that's just a quote to get those likes and interactions, or maybe there's some deep truth behind it. But anyway, that was the quotation. So, brothers, how is everyone? Everyone all good? Everyone relaxed? Everyone let their hair down? Everyone all good? What are you saying?
Good evening. We are all good. We're ready.
Speak for yourself, lad. Yeah, I'm here.
Well, okay, all right. Calm down. All right, so first and foremost, I need everyone's going to be put through the same question, but I need a volunteer for the person who's going to go first, because they're going to be at a disadvantage, I guess. So who's willing to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to pick a name out of a hat, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my screen up because I don't want anyone moaning or saying that, oh, it's rigged. It's rigged. So I've got a little bag here. Can you see it, boys?
Yeah.
So everyone's name's in there. So Kay, you've obviously volunteered first, so you get to choose the person.
See the names in, but carry on.
Okay. Always one. But there's 4 names in there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but how do we know there's 4 names in there though?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Okay, right. All right. No. That's fine.
I know T. What about the trust? Like you come with it, Captain T,
that's
and
fine.
you can't even have trust, blood. Just get that.
Okay, we've got one. Hold on. We can't even do it.
We trust you, man. Let's crack on.
No. I don't want no conspiracy. See, this is what I mean. You give people an inch and they take a mile, man.
And that's called toxic masculinity.
You are just a trigger name dropper today.
Anyway, because I need to come off screen soon. So, Kay, you, and obviously if it's your one, well, actually, I'll see it first. I'm going to show who it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put it to the screen. Let me know when you can see it. If you can see the letter there, everyone can see it's T, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I know that's rigged already, because how is it?
Chill, T.
No, carry on, T. How is it what?
It's all right.
Probabilities, mate. Chill out, man. Chill out. So, Kay, question for you.
Okay.
So this, just want to, in terms of letting your hair down, this is the theme of the episode, but it's also good to know your people and your people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have an answer, that's fine. We can put it out to the floor, to the rest of the group, or the rest of the group can add if they think there's more to be added to what you've said.
Mm-hmm.
So, question for you, Kay. What indicators does T give off to the group or you that suggests that he may need a break or some downtime?
Definitely his low tonality. He comes in very flat. He does a signature sigh or a deep breath before he starts a sentence or something. Or when you ask him if he's all right, he'll say, yeah, I'm all good. And it's like, that's not the same all good as you normally say, brother. So yeah, there are traits that he has.
Okay. Cool. Anyone to add, or Jay? Any additions to that, or
Yeah, I think Kane
anything
kind
else that
of
you might?
mentioned the ones that I picked up on.
Yeah, I'd say the same as well. I'd say also maybe uh there's a period of silence like on like chats if I know that he's busy or he's getting things done, but he probably does need a break because he's busy. You probably won't hear him as much on like the group and stuff like that. That would be my observation. Okay, nice one. Who's next?
Do I get to pick considering?
Yeah, why not?
Thank you, much appreciated. Jay.
Okay, Jay.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't pull your name out. If I do. Interesting.
M.
So the question is, what indicates to you, Jay, that gives, or what indicators do I give off that indicates that I may need some downtime or a break, etc., etc.
With you, you're quite forward actually. So before the indicators come, you actually say, "Hey, I might actually need a break really soon." You wouldn't say I need it now, but you'd actually give a heads up before you exhibit any outward behavior. And I guess it's kind of different for me because I'm not in your proximity. So yeah, you actually quite vocal about it. So yeah, that's the indicator for me.
So you're saying I'm a loudmouth, basically. Great.
No, you're not a loudmouth. You're just
I'm joking.
keep your mind.
I think there's definitely some silent indicators.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm coming off screen, Carry on.
I won't mention them all because I wonder if T can drop some as well. But I would say consumption, physical consumption of not necessarily good material or foods or drinks. That might increase to
So
cover
I'm a
up
loud, so I'm a loudmouth and a pig. I'm joking. I'm
Ah,
joking.
You
boy.
sound like some. You know what I mean?
Whoa,
Wow,
he's letting.
wow.
Okay, he's
I was
letting his
about to
head
say.
down.
I
All
was
right, all
about
right.
to say.
Actually, man, actually cut that part out because I'm.
No.
No,
Anything I said, anything I
dude,
said on
cut
this
that.
nah,
episode, anything I
Anyway,
said that on this
no.
episode is going.
anyway. Yeah. So sometimes you would like. I think it's a form of self harm. It's a form of self harm. But it's also a little trigger point. The way you cope with stress is to consume things. I think that's one of your clear telltale signs. But yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll see if T can drop some more.
Thank you, brother. I think, funny enough, I think me and you are pretty much similar
Mhm.
in terms of some of our behaviors when either we're under stress or under certain situations. Um, the ones that I've definitely picked up is that face of thunder, man. Moment we
Wow.
come on, moment we come on,
Yep.
and we're like, "Yes, brothers, how you doing?" I'm like,
Wow.
"Yep, someone needs some needs a break,"
Got
because I can
stone
see it,
face. Stone
and that's
face.
exactly. And your tolerance level is quite low
Can't hide it,
when
man.
when it's that, and I can tell like, okay, he's tired, or something else is going on. I
Mm.
think that's one thing that's very apparent whenever obviously we come on camera and we talk before recording or just when we're having our meetings. I can pretty much tell like, okay,
Or he
um
scratches his head too. He does that
yeah,
little like if he does it. There's no itch there, but he'll scratch his head like three times in one spot. Uh,
or even silent. We could be like laughing and joking around and M will be the only one that's silent.
yep.
Whoa, this you know what this M section segment is.
Or
Let's
Okay.
not lie.
he'll even
As
he'll
you can
even
see, the
do
person
he'll
he directed
even
the question to.
he'll even do this. Yeah, he'll do a little sucking thing. He'll do a little sucking thing, and so that's when you know he's starting to. We want to say something, but he's not sure how he's gonna execute it. So he does a little. Yeah, man, we got better traits, man.
But I think it's a good thing though, because
It is.
sometimes being silent means that you are aware of where you are mentally and physically. So
Mm.
you don't want to open your mouth and then say the wrong things or
Blurt
offend
out.
people. So sometimes you have to really filter what you need to say, because you
Mhm.
may say it the wrong way that will rub off people the wrong way. So it is a good thing, but
Mhm.
it's just the signs that we see.
Yeah, man, it's not a dig.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, viewers and listeners, if you want to send a go to my GoFundMe page for the torture that I just received, then
Oh, mate.
yeah, I'll send the link.
Some PTSD.
So
therapy.
I guess no, that's good. I'm only joking. So I guess T, you get to choose who chooses. Well, obviously there's only two, but you get to choose who the next person is.
Is it me or Jay? I thought it's Jay that's speaking. No.
Yeah.
Oh no, Jay. Sorry, Jay.
I
Sorry.
choose Gonti.
Ah, wow.
Pokemon boy, I choose you.
So basically,
Yeah, cool.
T, you get to talk on. There's only other one person, I believe. Or was there
J.O.
two?
Me, yeah.
No, K and J.
Can you see it on the screen?
K.
There's K in it.
Hmm.
Do your worst.
I think that the number one for K is you love to go on a run. That's one thing I know. Like, okay, sometimes obviously when things are happening, we'll get the long 20-minute voice notes. Am I lying, boys? Brothers?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. But that's why you got the 1.5 speed.
Yep.
Yeah. But just in general, I think K, you do vocalize it as well. When we have conversations and we're checking in, you genuinely are open about it and say, listen, I'm going through this. This is happening, or I'm just tired. So I think probably amongst all of us, you're more vocal in terms of letting us know where you're at, physically and emotionally.
I'd agree to that. To add to that, I'd say I would actually say there's certain things, and maybe just because I've just been around K a long time, I guess. But you hear changes in your voice.
In the voice.
There's two things that stand out for me actually. You can hear in your voice when you know what, it's time to break away, log off, stop building, stop working, or whatever it is. There's just a slight croakiness in your voice even when you're trying to relay a message. So even if it is like a 20-minute, not just because it's 20 minutes, but like there's like you can hear the exhaustion or the burnt outness in your voice. But also I would say I did that. It was just on the tip of my tongue and now it's gone. Da. I'll come back to it. That's just lost in my head. I don't know if Jay's got anything to add on that.
Yeah. Now, K is definitely a tonal change in the voice, and it either like a tone of exhaustion or a tone of I wouldn't say anger because it's not angry, but frustration.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really
Yeah, it's come back to me. Yeah, I would say also, just to add and to wrap up on that one, from me anyway. I say he as if he's not here, but I say you nozz out, and what I mean by that is obviously nitrous oxide. If anyone used to play Need for Speed Underground, you press that nozz button. Like there's times where actually, for whatever reason, whether it's just the dynamics of the group, or availability of the group, you will put yourself forward when probably it's not the right time to put yourself forward. And what I mean by that is you will still take on responsibilities that probably could be shared by us or taken on by us, and you'll deliver. You'll deliver and you'll go at a pace. But I think that has an impact. Like, I don't know if we see it. I don't know if I can even prove it, but like you'll take lead of a meeting or this when probably you've just had as much or even more stressful day as us, but you'll still nose out. So whatever last little bit of energy you've got, you'll put it all into that meeting where the recipient or the client or whoever we're speaking to wouldn't even know what's going through your day. But I guess we can pick up on that as well. That's what I'd say for that.
Remember on the Need for Speed game when you keep pressing it even though you know it's gone. It's like
Yep.
Yeah, I second that.
Yep. Cool. All right. I guess it's me. So I guess my one is for Mr. J. And just for order, good order, as they say in the industries, certain industries. just so no one could have put a
Legit,
different
it's
letter in there.
legit.
But hey, I think you're probably. I think within the first 10 seconds of speaking, obviously you've been in a different location at the moment. It's more time. It's video conference calls, etc.
Yeah.
But I think within the first 10 seconds, I know like if you're on it or you're not, because you're like someone's also mentioned about myself. Like you'll say it how it is. So we'll go, "What's good? Or are you good?" And you'll just be like, "Nah, not really," or you'll
Yeah.
be like, "Yeah, nah, I could be better,"
Mm,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Because but on the flip side, if I know that your energy's high, we'll hear all the sound effects or all the little innuendos or all the
Yeah.
little sound bites that not everyone will pick up on, but you'll say things under your breath or little things like that. It's like, okay, he's got his energy, he's on it. But I think when you do need downtime is when sometimes there's a sigh,
Yeah.
but more time, if you're asked directly, you'll give a direct answer. Nah, it's not good actually, or nah, it's been a hard day, or nah, these people are PM me off.
Yeah.
That's when I know that you need some downtime or a break.
mm.
It is. It is.
I'd say as well is even the tone of voice as well. You do come in quite low. That's when we say evening brothers and Jay responds and I'm like, yeah, it's been a hard one. And if you're on video, that's one thing I noticed is you you'll be listening, but your eyes will zone out.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean, and you'll be playing with your fingers, and which some of us obviously we've all got things that we do, but that's when I can tell like, okay, you are in the meeting, but half of you is like, listen, I'm tired. I want to shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
what I've
recognize that.
observed.
Well, I would add as well. You become like way less jovial. Like you're just a jovial character anyway, whether it's dirt, grit, or whatever. That will just stop. Like that will just stop. You will not get no dumb Instagram videos. You won't get no like all that will just stop. And that's when you know, like, okay, he's wrapped up.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, yeah. So or maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you need to be wrapped up more. Um,
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Man, how you do you hold on, why for that? Yeah.
Oh, man said why for that? Yeah.
but yeah, they are definitely traits that I agree with MT and yeah, to add that one as well. That is
No.
definitely a trait that I know. Like, okay, Jays,
Stop
you
looking at
need to
me.
take a step back. You know what I mean? So
Don't look
yeah,
at me. Don't look at me.
That's good, man. Honestly, that's good.
That is
Like just
that's actually really good.
that's good to know. Like I said, knowing your people, just knowing what triggers we are giving off to each other, especially as a group, an organization that we are, but also a friendship group. It's always good to know. And like viewers and listeners, this wasn't the guys didn't know what I was going to ask them for this particular part. So just to come up with that off the top of your head, um, shows that you're kind of the intuition is there, and that's vital in terms of what this season's been about. Even though we're talking about letting our hair down, etc., etc., to know that is actually quite refreshing. So yeah,
We're on
that's
point.
really
We're
good
on point.
insight,
We're
man.
on point
Yeah, man.
every
Does
day.
anyone else have any thoughts on that before I move on?
yeah, it's just like drawn on like your subconscious state, like when people interact, especially as we have for so long, not just for their business, but of course, as of late, mostly on the business. Um, it's actually good to know that we are conscious and our subconscious state is also learning. Our conscious
Mm,
state is learning because we can physically share that verbally on the drive, email, in the group chat, but we're also subconsciously learning about each other as well. And I feel that is absolutely paramount to once again going back to the whole foundation of even before we build a table, you have to know who you're building with. And that
yes.
subconscious level clearly is present there too, because I never even thought about what are M's traits, what are T's or J's, or what are my. But then it comes out just like that. There weren't no stuttering or no maybe no. We were assured, and we got confirmed by the other three. So that's levels, man. It's levels.
It is levels, man. And yeah, that was I didn't know. I really didn't know. Like you said, the assuredness was even that surprised me the most, really, because I thought maybe need a minute to think, but it was just boom. I love that. So in terms of downtime, in terms of letting your hair down and keep it clean, what do you, and the floor's open, whoever wants to jump in first, what do you do to let your hair down from those pains, anxieties, stresses, workloads of life? What do you guys do to let your hair down?
Music for me. That's probably the first one that comes to mind.
Mm.
Yeah, getting creative.
I can't really say there's one specific thing that I do, you know, to let my hair down, if I'm being honest. I guess being stuck in the rat race, things happen, and then whether it's us catching up as you always do, or it's going to the gym or something, it just gives you that little bit more. But there isn't a specific thing that I would say I would pinpoint and say this is what I do to let my hair down. Do you know what I mean?
What do you find yourself doing more often than not, though? So even if it's not a specific thing that you would go to, like even recent events, you've been busy beyond belief. You've been working hard, doing different type of builds. Like, what have been your break points whilst doing that? Also, what with the business as well? Like, what things have you been doing?
I think from me, obviously I love music. Do you know what I mean? Not creative. I don't compose anything, but listening to music is a good way. Just even when I'm driving about, obviously we work, listening to old school music gets me just into a different zone. And concerts, like recently went to a concert with the wife. It was just good. Do you know what I mean? To just do that because, like you said, yeah, it's been a bit manic the last couple of months. So that was a moment for me to just sit back, enjoy myself, and relax, and also touch base with the wife because of how busy it's been. That means there has been other departments being neglected because
100.
you're busy running around and you don't have the time to check in. So that's that. But it just all varies. Like I said, it's not a single thing that I would say, right, I'm tired. What am I gonna do? Like, I'm gonna go and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Hear that? I hear that loud and clear, man. I think just before I bring Kay in, I think from my perspective, I probably do have specific things.
What, Snickers?
No, no, no. See, let's move away from the consumption. um, I like, for example, and obviously my partner will laugh at this, but um, I like long baths. Like to get away, like I will have the
Mhm.
longest baths ever. Yes, I will have to top up the water
Until get
like
cold, I gotta say.
couple of times and whatever, maybe let a little bit out because the levels never don't hit the same when you got a cold layer and a hot layer, so I have to let some out just to build up the hot. But I have to do things like that. I need my space. Like I am definitely a someone that needs space no matter what, no matter where I am. Even if we went like I don't know if you guys remember, even last year when we went away, had a little or like I got up in the morning, I had to have like 15 minutes just sitting outside. Like in the mornings, like I
Yeah,
need
man.
space. But I think in terms of downtime, like especially what's going on with work and stuff and all the things that we have to do on top of that, yeah, just and it gives me time just to like listen to music, like you said, be creative. Like a lot of times I'm like creating stuff or writing notes or stuff like that, or playing games or catching up with games with like my family and stuff like that, or watching YouTube videos or stuff like that. So uh, that's one. Having a little Baileys as well is a nice way to kind of just let your hair down. Um, gaming,
Sharon?
yeah, gaming. Some like it's probably been a bit more than what it used to be, but yeah, just and walks. I think going for walks to clear your head. Since working from home, because I used to walk to work and walk back from work, that element of free time was taken away from me, if that makes sense. So I had to recreate that those things that I used to do during the day. So going for walks on my lunch or after work is essential. A good like 3 mile walk most days in the week to clear my head or listen to a podcast or catch up on stuff or catch up on audios. Um, that's the time to do it. So that would be how I let my hair down on a day-to-day basis.
Mm,
That's
Nice.
what I'd be doing.
yeah, man. Well, for me, it's quite simple. I just take my hairband off, really. That's
I
about it.
knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
That's about it, really. I mean, well, I don't know what you lot are doing, but no. This, uh, clear ones for me, people who know me, definitely gym, definitely spa, gaming, movies, anime, manga, manhwa, uh, reading and researching. In fact, I just bought another 2 books that I can't wait to get my teeth into. I will say the title of these books as well. Probably drop it on towards the end. Actually, I'll drop it now. The first one is Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery. And some people might
Okay.
say, how is that a chilled out read? But uh, that is chilled out to me. Me reading and learning about me and my people and the impacts. That's a chilled out read to me. Researching is a chilled out thing for me to do. So it's not a struggle. And the second one, which is by the same author as well, it's called Know Thyself, and that's by a author called Name Akbar or
Naeem.
Naim. It's,
Naeem.
it's either Name Akbar or Naim Akbar.
Seen.
Naim,
Naeem.
I think it'll be Naeem, isn't it?
if it's Naim.
Yeah, it
Mm.
is Naim
Yeah,
Akbar.
Yeah.
Naeem.
Yeah. So them 2 books I've ordered, and I can't wait to get my teeth into them. I listen to podcasts as well. As you know, you've got a little clip that might come through at some point. Cooking, definitely cooking. When I start cooking, I zone out,
Yeah.
man. I'm completely focused on the food that I'm making. Play some music in the background, and that's just my time. Might not seem as
Yep.
much,
Yep.
it might not seem
Hmm.
like a
Yeah.
lot, but
Mm.
trust me, when I get in that kitchen and I'm playing my music, boy, I'm chilled. I'm
Yep.
chilled.
100.
I relate.
Movies as well, and definitely having a drink. I do like a good whiskey. Don't like the real cheap stuff, but not the real expensive stuff. 'Cause I can't afford it. But the more you keep watching people, and the more you keep subscribing, maybe one day I'll get a good bottle of whiskey. Also talking to friends and family, as well as hikes and walks. I think
Yeah, I
that's
was about
all
to say.
things that I do. I love going for hikes, love going for walks, particularly hikes, because I like to put a little bit of a challenging edge to it as well. But also seeing nature. I absolutely love being out there, get away from cars, get away from bricks and people, noise of the town or city, and just soak in the noise of nature, get the smells,
Yeah.
man. You
Yeah.
can't beat it. You can't beat it, man. So yeah, just also it really boosts your oxygen levels too.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
there's probably a biological reason why I feel more energized when I get back from a hike, even though it might be a 7 hour hike. Like, how the hell you do a 7 hour hike? Trust me, when you start breathing that air in, boy, just feels clean.
Now that outside
So
air is different. That outside air is
it is,
different.
it
Yeah.
is, man. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
It
Yeah, I hear
actually
that.
made me think of something, that I didn't mention.
Go for it.
Actually, looking back on it, that's one consistent thing. But when you do it, but you don't actually think that you're letting your
Yeah.
hair down.
Hmm.
Like when I've had a long, long day, I'm talking about sometimes I'll get home about 11 p.m.
Yep.
I'll just sit, have something in
Same.
the background, and just have that a long time, just quietness. And sometimes the wife will be like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just." It's like you're decompressing, just sitting
I
there.
was literally
Because,
gonna. I was literally gonna say that's the word I use in this house all the
Yep.
time. Like
mm,
decompress. 100%.
mm.
Yeah.
you just sit there and just be in your zone because you're just quiet. Sometimes, obviously, before the wife would think like, "What are you doing? Like, come to bed." I'm like, "You don't understand the day that I've had. I just need this time to just sit
Yes.
alone." To you, you're like, "Oh, he's here. He's back home." To me, I'm like, I need to decompress.
Yeah, I need to get the
Yep.
world off
So
me first. Let me get the
exactly,
outside
I
off
just
me.
need exactly that. So if there was anything consistent that I do, it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decompress before I
Yeah.
press.
Ooh. I thought
Exactly.
of like days off on the farm. Yeah, like
Mm.
when on the farm I have nothing to. Why am I talking that Trini accent? And it must be the moonshine.
I'm done.
Nah, it's all good.
But yeah, days off on the farm. No
Yeah.
work, no schedule. I always end up doing work anyway, but it's at my own pace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I hear it. I hear it a lot. You, especially, sorry, just going back to what Kay said about cooking, because that's a massive one. Like,
Yeah.
and I know it sounds silly to everyone listening,
They
but
don't understand
when
it, boy.
when I'm cooking in the kitchen, I got music on. I literally feel that I'm connecting with my ancestors. I'm not even joking. Like grandparents and stuff like that, and even because I'm using, like, I've got some of my granddad's pots,
Hot
and I
story.
always cook with his pots, and whenever I make something that tastes sweet, I always give him a little blessing. I say, "This is for you, granddad," or whoever, or
Love that.
so that music when you're and that's I'm just in my element, man. And sometimes I say to myself, I say, I haven't cooked for ages. I mean, obviously you cook daily, but you know what I mean by cooking.
Proper.
You know what
You
I'm saying?
understand?
You know what
You
I'm saying?
understand?
So I have
Okay,
to
I
so I
have
have
a
to go to the
question.
butchers.
I
You
have
know
a
what I'm saying? Yeah,
I
go.
have a question. What's everyone's favorite genre? But don't forget what you were saying. To
Of.
cook to. What's your favorite genre of music to cook to?
Ooh. Let him finish first.
Yeah,
Then
let him
yeah,
finish
come.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go to the butchers and just reconnect because sometimes like life goes so fast. Like you're having normal meals and stuff like that, but that proper one, that proper cooking, that kind of literally soul food that can last a cute few days as well.
Mm.
Like I have to reconnect with doing that because sometimes you lose yourself when you get into the mundane eating blah blah blah. Um, and tea, yeah, the decompress thing I said all the time. And someone like me, I'm naturally an introvert. So if I go out and do stuff socially and stuff like that, yeah, I can be sociable, I can like have fun and stuff like that. But that does take its toll on me. And normally I have to decompress when I've been to like an event or been out in public for a long period of time or been around loads of people. Like I actually need to decompress. And similar to UT, like night times, like Mrs. will be like, why do you always stay up late? And it's like because I feel like I need part of my day back. Like, and this is the only time. This is the only time like in
Wow.
the day that I feel like let me just at least grab these last 2 hours, whether it's between 10 and 11 or 11 and 12. Like, I need that before I reset. I'm not someone that's kind of. It doesn't normally affect me the next day where I'm like, oh, I can't get up, whatever. I think that's just how I am process wise. But anyway, enough about me. Jay, go back to your question again. Favorite genre?
Yeah, what's everyone's favorite genre of music to cook to?
Favorite, so you can only pick one.
You could
Okay.
only pick one. I don't want to hear no
Wow,
playlist.
Oh,
wow,
that's
only one.
hard.
One.
Shall we
Okay,
guess? Shall we guess who's who?
go on. Okay,
Okay. All right,
I'm gonna
you
pick K.
yeah.
I would say probably soccer music.
You know what? I was humming and hawing between
ugh,
soca, calypso. I think calypso will outbeat soca.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
for me, soca and calypso would be
I,
along the same genre, but obviously
I can't listen to
that's my
Soca and
ignorant.
Cook. I'll just keep whining and not turning the pot.
I don't, I don't know how anyone can listen to it anyway. Oh, hate
and then the
soccer.
third, I reckon, would be probably reggae. Yeah.
You gotta guess someone else's then, okay?
All right. I'm gonna guess Jay's. Um, funny enough, I would say it'd probably be soul for
Yeah.
Jay. I reckon it'd be soul, or actually, I'll stick with soul. I'll stick with soul. or
Okay.
R&B.
Yeah,
No, no, no. See, there's only one, bro.
yeah, I would say more R&B over soul. Yeah, when I'm
Same.
cooking. Yeah,
I knew it was one of them too.
yeah, for sure, for
Hmm.
sure.
T. You're a tricky customer.
I know you won't get this.
You're a tricky customer because you like your old school, but I know like you like all type of old school. Like I've been in a car with you and you're playing like
Okay, you got some research. Yeah, you got some research.
like, but he like, yeah, like it's he
Think about his wedding. Think about his wedding day. Think about his wedding day.
yeah, but cooking no. It's definitely something old school, but I don't know which genre. It's between I've got three, but I'm gonna say one. But there's three in my mind. But I'm gonna go for maybe dancehall, old school dancehall.
Okay,
You're quite close. Conscious.
conscious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I
Conscious
love me
music
some
level.
conscious music, man. Old school conscious. Just
Yeah,
Sizzler. Yeah, I'm there.
Sizzler,
but you're a tricky one, man.
Yeah, man. Old school reggae, old school conscious boy. I go hand in hand, boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, the Beijing
yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, I would say the same for M. Like reggae or soul.
What for him?
Yeah, for M. Reggae or
Hun-
soul.
100%.
Yeah,
Literally,
Which
uh,
one? Which one?
literally, it will be both.
it would
No,
be
you have to
It
pick
will.
both.
one.
Yeah.
No,
Li-
no, no.
Hold on, you're telling me what I play?
No, you have to pick
But I
one.
think if he had a choice, I think he would choose reggae to cook to.
Yeah, yeah. But
Okay, boom.
I do literally play. But I will have
Both.
a
Yeah.
playlist with both of them in there because to be in a weird way they go hand in hand, and that sounds weird. But
No, they do. They do.
They do.
100%.
They do.
well, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good question, man. That's a good question. But yeah, I do that connection there, boy. That's a whole. That could be a podcast actually. Food, but hey.
Mm.
So you guys like you kind of broke into it anyway in terms of like why it's important to have these downtimes, these breaks, these chills. But if anyone wants to expand on that, they can. But
Yes.
also, what benefits does it have on for others around you to have this time? So whether we know it or not, whether we know that K goes for a hike or T is decompressing or J is creating, like what benefits for you to do that does it have on us essentially and your people around you?
Mm. I think we just have to expagorate a little bit on why it's important. It's important because it's a check-in time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And also you have to realize when you're tired, you're also at your vulnerable point,
Yes.
right? Because
Hmm.
your guard is down. Guard is down, even your immune system is down,
100.
right? So it affects you physically and mentally. So it's important to just take that time to just recharge and just say, right, I'm not going to do anything. I just want to be in touch with me, myself, and I in this moment. Whatever you do, hiking, decompressing, walking, whatever it is, it's just you, and make sure you recharge and get your energy back. Now, why is that important for people around you? It's important because one, it will stop a lot of conflicts, whether you know it or not.
Mhm.
You taking that time out and other people knowing when you need that time out will stop a lot of conflicts. Because, like we were saying earlier on, if I saw that M is come in the room and he's a bit on the edge or whatever else, I know he's tired. So, whatever he may say, I won't take it to heart.
100.
Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas if you don't pick up on those signs, he says something, you're quick to fire back. And then that can trigger other things. And also, there's only so much you can keep pouring out, pouring out. You can't pour out from an empty cup.
Mhm.
Bars.
That's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, man. That was levels, man, and completely agree with what you said there, T. And that quote is heavy. You can't pour out from an empty cup, boy. You have to refill it first. You know what I mean? You got to take some for
Mhm.
yourself too. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You can't just give to
Mm.
everyone else and be left with nothing. And I feel I've been a perpetrator of that, unfortunately, in my past times, but never I am again. Or at least not for the wrong people. How about that one?
Mm.
So I done a little bit of searching in regard to relaxation, mental health, getting your state of readiness back. That's what a rest period and having your own time is, isn't it? It's to get your state of readiness back so you can come back stronger. You can come back and carry on. So I looked into a guy called Michael Taft, and he has a term called cerebral congestion, which is in essence overloading. You're overloading your mind, which impacts your body, impacts your biological state in terms of you get ill faster.
Mm.
And what he does once a year is that he goes on for a retreat for 3 months. And in that 3 month treat, he doesn't talk to any people.
Jeez.
He has no technology, and he's just about getting food and just having his own time and space. And he states that when you go on a long retreat like that, there's a kind of base level of mental tension and busyness that totally evaporates.
Mm.
Mm.
And he can
Yeah.
feel once that's done, I can come back and do what I gotta do. I can come back and give everyone my all. Because if I keep going forever, that tension does build. You get to a point of tiredness. You get to a point you might say and do things that you don't want to do. And there's too much busyness. There's just too much busyness, man. Turn your mobile off for 2 days. And if you struggle, there's a problem, man. If you
Mm.
actually struggle with having your phone off, you have to, forget a TV, a laptop, a phone are all luxuries. But because the world has built it into our systems, for example, not having the internet, period, you're going to be at a social disadvantage. That's wrong. But then, in essence, it makes you feel like you have to have it constantly. And that's where that busyness starts to slowly build up because you're constantly online, on here, on there, in engaged face to face. And where's the time where you actually shut off? So these 3 month long treats is to evaporate the cerebral congestion. What does that do for you? What does that do for other people? Well, it reduces stress for yourself and others. It enhances the relaxation states. You're able to actually relax. I've never felt for an extended period of time how it feels to actually relax your muscles. Guys, like seriously, I didn't realize that I'm constantly at a slight level of tension, always like my shoulders and that, and you just feel, oh, I just got a little ache and pain there. It's not. You're at a constant level of tension and readiness for whatever stress reason. It's stress induced. When you
Mm.
really relax and you finally feel that shoulder drop, just that centimeter, you're like, rah, I didn't know my shoulder. You know, it's feeling a bit loose. Or rah, my knee feels, or rah, my forearm, or my elbows don't feel as achy. Stuff like that. And overall, it improves your well-being, doesn't it? And your well-being, as we explained in the previous episode, it actually makes you have longevity in life. So,
Mm.
yeah, man, it
Indeed.
just feeds into everything. Man. Feeds into everything.
I'm just thinking that 3 months, boy, my mum would have sent a search party within 2 days. Because she's got to speak to me every 2 days.
Yeah, I
It's
was.
got to be, oh man.
Yep,
It-
for sure.
a lot of things just came to my mind. Like 3 months. Is he married? Has he got kids?
But even 3 days, you imagine right now, you turn
Mm.
off your phone for 3 days. Everyone's gonna lose their mind.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone around you is gonna lose their mind. So to almost, we can't do that
Well,
because
obviously, you would inform people if you really want to shut it off. Because I've done that before, when I've
Yep.
turned my phone off,
Same.
and
yeah,
I've messaged people first
yeah,
to
you
let you
have
know.
to, you
Listen,
have to, yeah,
my phone's gonna be off for 24 hours. I'm absolutely fine. If you really need to get in contact with me, I'll check my email once in that day, just in case there's a crisis. But beyond that, I'm offline. And I'll tell you what, men, brothers, peace.
100.
Peace, man. And I just sat outside by the trees and read my book.
Find a little nook
Yeah.
Something I need to try.
to read your book.
Yep.
No, it's real. I think for everyone around you, it's kind of like that give and take. Like when you take a break, you get that rest, you come back revitalized, and like you said, you do pour into other people that energy, that readiness, that alertness. People are around you, they soak that up. So it's a benefit to everyone around you when you're rested. Same as when you're not rested, you're taken from them. You don't might not consciously do it, but you're actually taking energy from other people, like some sort of succubus or leech or something, because you're so drained of it just by you being in a bad mood and people around you, like you're sapping from them. So yeah, being having good
Yeah.
rest is very important, man. It's very, very important. And we don't do it. Even though we say we're having a rest, all of us have been guilty of still building on a day off.
Yes, we have.
I agree.
So,
Can't even
We
say you're
definitely,
lying.
we definitely have.
so we're all hypocrites, ain't we?
All right, all right.
No, you're right. We have been guilty of that, but also that's an interesting study on that guy, man. Because
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I have done not 3 months, but I've done that a few months ago. Um, for I'd say about 3 days or 2.5 days, where it was kind of like literally taking myself out, completely out. When I mean out, like not even in the same area, if that makes sense. Not even in the same town, if I was being honest. Because it had to happen. I had to do it. Whether people liked it or not, it's something that needed to be happening. Switch off, and like you said, it was peace. It was actual peace. Um, Obviously, you have to do it within. If you are good thinking about things like that, you have to have context and do it within reason. But boy, I needed that to enable me to be in spaces like what we're in now. Simple as forward thinking, future thinking, knowing that if I don't do this, have a look maybe an immediate and short term sacrifice in other areas. It's not gonna look good for me in the next 5 6 months time. So yeah, I agree on that, man. Downtime, is that something that necessarily needs to be done individually, or is that something that that can be done collaboratively? Only reason I ask is because it's kind of leading on probably two questions. Can we afford to have too much downtime? If yes, why? If no, why? Because I personally feel, well, I'll say my feelings after we've got the views of everyone else, but yeah, can we afford to have too much downtime in our lives? Be interested to know what you guys are saying on that.
In this system, no, we can't afford too much downtime. In the current system we live in, because we have to just merely survive. And the way how the system's set up, we have to work, and the work takes up the majority of our day. And then, like
Yeah.
you said, some of us have to come home and then decompress from that day, or try to regain back some of their day just to feel human.
Mm,
So we can't afford it. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to. There's enough resources and wealth and time in the world for us to do that. But just how who someone mentioned the rat race earlier, I think it was T.
yep.
Yeah, just how it's set up. We're not afforded that luxury.
I think, yeah, I agree. We can't, you can't afford it. Plain and simple. Um, the infrastructure is not there, as we touched on the previous podcast, where a lot of people now don't even have savings if they lost their job to sustain them 3 months.
Mm.
So how can we afford downtime where we just say, do you know what, today we're off. 2 weeks, nothing. No income coming in, nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you got holiday entitlement, the 28 days or 30 days, whatever you get, it's very difficult. Is it important to go as a group? That was one of the questions, wasn't it?
Mhm. Or does downtime mean necessarily is it an individual thing, or can it be collaborative?
I think it can be a lot more beneficial as a collaborative, because we had that experience, didn't we, when we had our wellness break?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That experience was 10 times better in terms of being revitalized than if I'd done it by myself.
Okay.
Seeing.
It really was just sitting there, and we was in nature as well.
Yep.
Good conversations, good food, and just coexisting in the same place. No, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Everyone played their part in an unspoken rule.
Yep.
It was just re-energizing. There was just something about it that was just levels upon levels better than if I had done it by myself.
I still don't know why they put them little baby deers, and then you got a barbecue pit right there as well. It's like, come on.
Baby dears.
You're tempting fate, boy. You're
It'll
tempting
never
fate.
happen in Trinidad. That's all I'm saying.
A little Bambi, you know what I mean? But yeah, for sure, I believe, first of all, you can relax by yourself and in a group. I believe they both have their places, and I honestly think if you have the right group, you can actually have your individual relaxation within the group as well.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
And I think a lot of the points in that is, if we looked at our big man, F, he had his way of having his own time amongst the group. T would need his morning time by
I knew
himself
you'd say that. Listen.
from the group. M would need his sit outside morning time. That's his way to get it from the group. S would brock eggs. That's his time. He'll get up nice and early before anyone else. That's for him to have his time. And I had my time too, even though we were still relaxing within the group. So I think if it's done right, they can both go hand in hand, as long as everyone respects. Okay, I can see that's T's time, and I'm not gonna go in that room, even though I want to grab my top, but let me leave him. You know what I mean? Let me have his time. M sitting outside. Okay, I want to sit outside too. You know what? I'll go out the front door. M sitting out the back. F's going around, walking around the trees and that. You know what? I want to say something to him, but I'll say it to him in 10 minutes. So it's stuff like that. What's the second part of the question, M?
Can we afford, or can you afford to have too much downtime?
Can I afford? Definitely not. I am officially born and bred one Saf. And because of that, that does not enable me to have that even if I wanted to. Until we get to a point where we can be one step away from positive outcomes, or in fact, within the positive outcome, so we're not even a step away anymore, we're in it, then I believe my mind will know when I'm ready to say, I can afford to have as much downtime as I want, and I can choose to step in or choose to step out. Unfortunately, I don't see that ever happening for me as an individual. I hope it does, but unfortunately, that's part of the curse of being one Saf DNA. In this system, I can't see us ever having breaks.
Well,
you know what I mean?
yeah. I'd say, but that's always the aim, though, isn't it? Because that break is one of the desirable outcomes that we
100.
look for. So I wouldn't say never, but I understand exactly where you're coming from, and that leads on to going back to what I said at the start with regards to that quote about 20 years from now, the only people who remember that you work late is your kids, and the reason why it stuck with me is because and I'm going to link quite a few things that has been said here, so just stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
I get that quote, but also I've been on the receiving end of not that quote, but I've been on the receiving end when I have been working. Uh, for example, we used to for one business we used to like have meetings on Sundays, etc. Sunday mornings for a period of time. And I still always get feedback from some of my kids' mums. Oh, the kids are saying that you're always working, blah 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 blah. And that wasn't the case. I need to make that clear. Like there was a period of my time over the last 5 years where literally I was I was overdoing it in terms of entertaining children, and I had to put a stop to it because the balance wasn't right, and the expectancy was dad's the entertainer, and that doesn't bode well for
Hmm.
children because then it removes the aspect of them learning how to occupy themselves when they need to, learning how to understand that it's okay to be in your own space and your own mind without having someone to kind of infuse you with energy or ideas and stuff like that. um, so I did question myself sometimes where it was like, okay, am I always working? Well, no, I'm not. But first and foremost, like we had the weekends to do X, Y, and Z, but then I specifically said, we're doing this, or I've got a meeting at this particular time for 2 hours in the day, but the rest of the day's free. So what I'm trying to say is I if I just went with that quotation and go, you know what, I've got every time there's children around or every time partners looking at me because I'm in my corner doing work, like I've got to stop. I just like Kay said, I can't afford to do that at this present stage of my life. Yes, balance needs to happen. Yes, you do need to understand and maybe communicate that, okay, this week I'm going to be busy, next week, not so busy. But I can't afford to buy into the notion that I have to switch off when everyone else wants my attention, because then that will stop me from getting from not only my individual goals, but my collective goals, especially with people like yourselves. So that's very the reason I'm saying this is because you have to have balance, but you have to realize that actually some sacrifices need to be made in order to get to those desirable outcomes.
Mm.
If that makes sense. Um, so that was my take on it, and yeah, that when you said that, Kay, about we are from one SAF DNA, so we are kind of behind in the race anyway. I genuinely don't think we can afford to have too much. So make the most of it when you do. So when I have my baths, I make the most of it. Literally, if I'm doing cooking or if you guys are creating or whatever you're doing, make the most of it because there's things that need to get done, people. And I'm
Mm.
speaking directly to the listeners that are tuning into us. Like work needs to be done, and I'm sure we'll expand more on that on our final episode, episode 10. But that's just to give a little feel to that. Sorry, T, did you want to say, did you have something else you want to say?
Yeah, just to add on that, um, especially when you're trying to balance a family life, it's a difficult situation to be in because you're always second doubting yourself, thinking, right, is that the right thing? All I'll say is kids may not see it now, but when they get older themselves,
Yep.
they'll understand. Us now, we're
Yeah,
adults now, yeah,
yeah.
we're fathers now. I look back in some situations and I think, now I get it. I never got it before. And as fathers as well, bit controversial on this one. Other viewers may have a different opinion, which is fine. As fathers, my number one priority is to make sure that my family is good. So that means I do what I need to do to make sure you're good. You may not realize you're not in that position yet, or you may think, I don't want to spend time with you as my child, as my wife, but I'm trying to make sure that you're good. So 10 years down the line, when we are within those positive outcomes, I can sit back and think, we're now good.
Hmm.
Because sometimes some people may be short sighted, they don't see the long game. That's one thing we have to be very, very conscious of. You need to be conscious of the long game. you sacrificing 5 years now may benefit you 20 years down the line.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to add, bro.
For sure. Okay, so gonna move on a little bit and maybe change the angle of the pod a little bit. So we're speaking about downtime and the importance of it, or what we actually do, and also the triggers that we have amongst each other. Just a few bits of information here, or a few stats, or a few observations from ONS. So across all parts of the UK, men spent more time on leisure activities than women, an average of 6 hours and 9 minutes compared to 5 hours and 29 minutes per day, respectively. People in the southeast England, so that's kind of where we are, spent the most time on leisure activities. So that's 5 hours and 2 minutes per day compared to the compared with Northern Ireland, where they spent the least, which was 4 hours and 22 minutes per day. The majority of leisure time for both men and women was spent consuming mass media, for example, watching TV, reading or listening to music, which is 16 hours and 24 minutes per week for men and 14 hours and 23 minutes for women. And just another one here, people who work in skilled trade professions spent the least time on leisure, 4 hours and 34 minutes per day, compared to people who work in sales and customer service professions, who spent the most, which was 5 hours and 21 minutes per day. So there's just a few snippets from ONS there. Any observations that you noticed on those, guys, from any of those stats, or any trends that you notice?
I guess if we look at the theme of this episode, and then we look at who's choosing to let their hair down more, as you originally stated at the start, music was one of the things we chose, as well as movies, or maybe gaming will be classed as leisure time as well.
Yep.
If we're finding that men in general, and when you say men, you're talking over all ethnic minority groups, right?
Yep.
Cool. So what it seems to me is that men need more, and need more in the sense of not saying women don't need it as well. I have to always double down on my things nowadays. Didn't have to back when, but it tells me that maybe there's a stress level that is being applied to men in a greater capacity more than women, or the flip side is men have less capacity to maintain stress, so therefore they need more leisure time. So you
I
can
like how
look
you
at it
flipped
at
that. I like how you flipped it.
yes. So so you can look at it from them angles really, but the reality is this: there is more leisure time that men are seeking in general than women, and it seems to be in the location areas of the country, more up north, island area. They are having need, or they are needed, feeling that they need less than mainland. So that's interesting to me as well. Is it a accessibility issue? Is it a culture? Who knows? But we look at then in the aspect of, you asked us recently, can we afford this much downtime? Now, if we look at the traditional sense of the country, households, men, progression in industry and earning of capital, who predominantly earns the most in every ethnic minority? It's the men. So, and I have to then use that in the essence of maybe the pressure of being the man, whether you are the man within the household or outside of the household, whether you are an independent man who don't have any kids or partners, there's still an element of you feel you need to still be on top of that throne. Whether it's because you want to have your queen and your prince and princesses, or maybe because you want to maintain your prince and princesses, or maybe because you're paying for another house where your prince and princesses are. And I just feel that that just speaks to a lot when it comes down to the inability for us to have the downtime that we really need. So we consume it in leisure. So it's just there's so many dynamics there, but yeah.
It's quite interesting. The stats for me. I thought it would have been the other way around, to be honest. But actually thinking more about it and looking in nature as well, men tend to be um, isolated more. So if you're isolated, you will tend to have more downtime on leisure.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it makes sense. Like if we okay, let's take it into the wild. Any male species that you know spends most of its time isolated, and most female species will be in a group.
Groups. Yeah.
And then if you take it back to humankind, same things still apply. Most females would thrive better in a group setting than most men.
Mm.
So I think that's probably the reason why that downtime is there. It's just because we we function better. Like I said, I would rather come home, decompress, sit here, while the wife is thinking, right, you're home now, let's do this, let's do that. I'm thinking, no, I don't want to do that. I want to decompress because I've had a long day.
Yeah.
And what do I do when I decompress? Social media. I'm catching up on messages, whatever that's been going through the day. That's my time to catch up on.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said really. And while I was agreeing, I was also thinking what would happen if everybody in the world said today I need to decompress. Didn't go to work, didn't do
Oui.
nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? And studies have shown in countries and in companies when you give people 4-day work weeks, production
Yep.
actually goes up. So they can afford, it can be afforded. There's evidence to show that you can get more work done if I am awarded more space to recoup
Yes.
myself to decompress. But yet they won't do it.
Proven as well. That's actually proven.
Yet they
It
won't do it.
is.
So then that leads me to think they don't want us to have our hair down. They don't want us. They
Mm.
don't want us to let our hair down. They want us to let our hair down just enough to keep us clocking back into work on Monday.
There you go.
Yeah.
That speaks to a
That,
wider issue.
Them doing that just opens up a lot more issues
Ooh,
because then you're able to critically think.
exactly.
That's one thing they don't want.
during
Yeah, to
COVID,
galvanize.
people working from home, productivity didn't go home. I mean, go home. Productivity did not go down. People working,
No.
and I
No.
bet a lot of
I,
people
I,
during the day decompress more than when they was in the office, but yet they still done, if not more work.
Mhm.
So it's
I
proven.
can honestly say, since working from home, my quality in my respective role, I can honestly say it has improved tenfold. The quality of that. So, and I think they have been testing it in certain parts of the country, the 4-day week, etc.
Yeah, they are.
And yeah, it is. You're absolutely right, Jay. They don't really want us to all decompress at one time. Obviously, things would naturally stop, which probably can't. But
Yeah,
I get what I get what you mean when you say that, and so I think that would actually be a wonderful thing if people had that freedom to do so. But hey, sorry, Kay, I
Exactly.
cut you off there.
No, everything what you said is correct, and that freedom to decompress all at once, we can do it. That's possible. What stops us? It's
Hmm.
our mental state. Our
Yeah.
mental state that we've similar to the internet. We feel we need it. Similar to the mobile phone, we feel we need it, and it's like can't do without it. You have to have a mobile. You have to have a number. You have to have an email. You have to. Who said the society that formed itself around us? This same society that formed itself around us cannot exist unless we partake.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's just a fact. And guess what? If we actually decompress and not partake in this rat race, they would eventually have to listen and beg us, please don't stay up for too long. Just look at these strikes that's going on.
Yep.
These railway strikes. If all pilots said I'm not flying nowhere. I mean all pilots, not just commercial, industrial,
Mhm.
cargoes. If all captains of ships said I'm not sailing one ship. If all lorry drivers said I ain't driving one lorry, all trains said I'm not driving one train, one bus, that same government, who are a minority group by numbers, will be begging, please come. Listen, we'll make everything better for you. Look, what did you want? 10K more? Yeah, that's fine, absolutely fine. Did you want this? And we start to realize that we are not the servants, but the ones that should be served. Because the minorities that sit in that member of parliament, etc., they are the minorities supposed to serve you. They're supposed to run the country according to how we see fit. That's a democracy, right? So why is that never the case?
It's inverse.
That's a whole other podcast, boy.
It's inverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another start that you touched on there. The last start. Can you just repeat that, please?
People who work in skilled trade professions spent the least time on leisure, compared with people in sales and customer service professions who spent the most. That speaks for itself, really. I kind of think, because I've been in sales, I've been in customer service and them environments, and when you just want to get out, you just want to go out on a weekend, or you just want to kind of, because those type of jobs can be monotonous, stressful, and you just want to have downtime as soon as you clock out. So I can get that statistic in comparison to people that actually are skilled in trades and stuff, because one, they are normally a lot of times they're working for themselves or they're self-employed. But they have flexibility and variability in the jobs that they do, I guess. So there might be a mental part or a psychological part where they don't feel they need to just release or go out on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday as much as people that working on call centers or in retail, etc. And I think also just the men and women thing, I do think as much as people try to deny it in today's world, there is still a traditional sense. If you are thinking about the average man and average woman, uh, please don't counsel me. But normally you will have, the women will still be in terms of leisure time, just in a normal household, probably the woman is taking more of the motherly role and they're doing this with the kids and stuff like that, where they don't feel like they have as much time as what the man would switch on a computer game or whatever it is. So I think there's things in there, and also just the socio-economic structure of the UK between north and south. I think they kind of speak for themselves as well in terms of why people maybe in the south of England might have more uh, disposable income to partake in leisure stuff in comparison to the north of England. So I think it actually gives you a actual reflection of what the UK is, really.
Yeah. Do you think though maybe the skilled workers in terms of the men, because their jobs are physically demanding,
Yeah.
that's why the downtime is not as much in terms of leisure downtime?
Yeah.
Because looking at where I've been in times before where I've been working, I'm too tired to do anything. Genuinely, you don't want to touch your phone. You don't want to do anything. You're physically exhausted because it's a physically demanding job, and like you said as well, most people would be working for themselves, or if they work for someone, it's mainly a lone working job, and the social um relations wouldn't be as strong as if you're in sales or customer service, because it's a group setting.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? You would have people that after work, oh, let's all go out and meet. If you're a skilled worker, you're not really gonna have a group of builders that will say, yeah, after bricklaying the whole day. Let's go out and have a few beers.
Yeah, you're right. And I saw a funny post on it Instagram last week where as a man, it said a self-employed person's Christmas party, and,
Oh, the
and it
guy
was
by himself.
and it was just a man. It was just a man in a pub with a pint, looking around. That cracked me up, man. That cracked me up.
So that I creased.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does happen.
That's actually deep.
that cracked me up, man. But yeah, you're right. Like, there's a lot of correlations there. A lot of correlations there. I'm going to move on swiftly, just because I'm conscious of time. So, mhm. Yes, guys. So, viewers and listeners, we have plans. Season 3, season 1, 2, 3. There's a method. There is a method behind the madness in terms of how we structure and how we try to deliver content to you, not only to you, but also for us and for future generations. There are important things that we need to tell the people, tell you, and express amongst ourselves. But today is a little bit different, just in terms of next season or seasons beyond. I just want to make sure everyone in the conversation, everyone's all good, everyone's relaxed right now, everyone's hair's let down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Men, yeah,
man. Yeah, man. We are here, man.
okay.
We're building.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we're all good.
so 3 minutes. I'm gonna get my timer. I'm sure you trust me with my stopwatch. So I'll give you some time to. Well, I don't know if you need too much time to think, but if we had free reign, relaxed rules,
Free reign.
and could be open to discuss any topic on our podcast for next season and beyond, what would it be? But obviously, there has to be a one step away from connection. Now, you can either shout out titles that you that you could think of, or you can shout out just topics or scenarios and stuff like that. It's just once again, it's just to let our hair down, just to kind of express things that potentially could be potential content for the future if we get to that stage. Um, and yeah, 3 minutes. Time starts now. I'll start with a title. Mothers can be deadbeats too. Go.
Based on that, I'm not taking part on this. Yeah, no. I refuse to take part on this. Based on that first one, I'm out.
Man
I've got
injected
another
himself
title.
from the
I've
game.
got another title. I've got another title. Do you really want equality?
That's
Okay.
That's yep. I'm on that.
How about is it our fault?
Yeah.
Man, I don't even.
Or is it
How
debate?
much freedom do we have to talk?
Let your hair
Well,
down, man.
we're talking, man. Obviously, we're talking. Yeah. 1 minute's gone. Come on, what are topics that you guys like are passionate about, man? Like,
I want to talk about children. You are programmed to fail.
yeah.
I want to talk about there is such things as boundaries and barriers that you are meant to keep.
Mm-hmm.
I
I've
want
got
to talk
one.
about the sexualization of children. Is it
Yes,
acceptable or is it not?
that I agree.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the fact that children are not always innocent in certain
100.
situations.
Yep. Yep.
Mm.
I want to talk about social workers. Are you doing your job?
Mm.
Mm.
I want to talk about
Um.
why man them afraid to get punched in the face.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's different. The different ways to dissect that. That's for another
Mm.
podcast.
What about approaching people, approaching females, or males approaching females, females approaching males?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dynamics there.
Truth
I
about
want to.
black
I want to talk about
feminism.
is it our responsibility as men to protect women?
Oi. Okay. Is there an expectation? That
Mm.
could be a follow-on question. Okay. We've gone past 3 minutes. Interesting.
And one more. If you
You
can't
just said
butcher
we've
it,
gone past 3
you
minutes.
can't eat it.
Just gone past 3 minutes. So that last one
They count.
won't be accepted.
Null and void.
It's null and void.
Anything null and void right now is your liver blood. What are you talking?
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh man, this guy.
But yes, as I said, obviously, depending on the direction that we go, but they are just things that we want to throw out there because it's important to know that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in our minds and a lot of things that we experience and a lot of things that we don't because we have had a structure. There's so much things that we want to speak on and talk on or maybe share or debate on. So it's good just to kind of get some things out there and know that we are always thinking. Yes,
Marital
Steve?
courts.
You're,
Oh,
you had 3 minutes, but you said you didn't want to be involved for the first minute, so that one's null and void. No, I'm joking, but yeah, but that's good. That's good to throw them out there, man. It's good to throw them out there. So just before we go, I want to just give a quick shout out to an event that we recently attended. I know Jay, you was in a different other side of the world,
Was there in spirit?
but you was definitely there in spirit. I can say that for true. But shout out to our podcast brothers, where the keys at. We a few weeks ago we let our hair down, so to speak. KT and I. Um, to their old school event. If you guys haven't checked them out, check them out. Make sure you follow, subscribe to them. Where the keys at? WTKA. Um, let our hair down a little bit, just and I guess that's probably the first event. I know me and T went to the one before that, but in terms of the majority of the group, that's probably one of the first kind of public events that we have all been to. Am I right in saying
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. S was there as well. So
Yes, S was there as well. What do you think? What was your thoughts on the night?
Boy.
I think it's good. It's good to kind of just let our hair down a bit, man.
no, it was
Other than having meetings and stuff, like you know what I'm
it was
saying.
good. And do you know what was important as well? Just to see people having fun and no madness going on, nothing, just pure vibes. It was good. K danced his knee out of his socket, but
Wait,
that's another,
knee out of his
that's
socket.
another, you
To
know.
be fair, someone else has said that to me. Not that those actual words, but someone else made reference similar to that as well. So
Yeah,
that must be
and
it. Must be
M
true.
got dust out by his dad. You know,
Wow.
uh,
M
yeah,
got
bruv,
dust
your
out
dad,
by his dad.
bruv, you did, bruv. Your dad was moving. He's got moves. He's got
Of
moves.
course, of course, of course.
So,
But you have to bear in
um,
mind. No, no, no. You have to bear in mind because I have this conversation all the time.
Okay.
Like, no, no, no. And I'm gonna
Can't let
call him
lie,
out.
can you? Can't let
Now
lie.
I'm gonna call him out because what you guys don't see is that during the course of a night, like my dad is watching because I'm dancing all night.
Okay.
He's picking moments when he wants to kind of jump in.
your
So
So
dad
you're getting
was
if you
in there
come,
in
snipers,
the corner
basically.
watching. Your,
so
bruv, your dad was on the other side, right at the back.
yeah,
He was
but
not on the dance floor. He came to the dance floor literally at the end.
exactly. But who was dancing
Yeah,
all
so he
night?
wasn't watching you then, but he wasn't watching you.
Okay, I'm just giving you. I'm just giving you a breadth of what happens in these scenarios where everyone's trying to kind of get me to clash with my own dad. Like I'm never like my dad's my dad, so he's always going to be the king there. So I don't mind it. I feel honored that he wants to challenge me. So
Yeah.
that is what it is,
You
man.
don't like to run away from a
But
challenge, do ya?
Yeah, it's good to see though. Do you know what I mean? It's good to
It's
see,
really good to
especially
see, man.
for our people and the stereotyping of if others, they're not there and they don't get along. Listen, M's dad was there next to him, clashing him and beating him on top of that. So, our fathers are there, they're present.
And from a point of view as well, like where the keys at, again, another commendation to what you lot have done. Can't wait to do some collab with you lot. What you lot have shown is another level of where this can go, man. Especially on keeping the black pound circulating in the black community longer than just, I can't remember the figure, but we have to find the current
10
figure.
minutes or something like that.
It's
2
ridiculous.
hours.
In 2
Yeah.
hours.
And just me seeing that, like I saw it from a business point of view, because even though I was there and enjoying it, I was like, right, they could improve that there. They could actually improve it. But the reality is, they are absolutely smashing it.
100.
How's the DJs, the bartender, the security by the door, the venue, the people who were present, it was all excellent. And I had such a good time. I haven't been out for a night in years. I have not been out for a dance in years. Part being that my injuries, but I'm really uncovering. But part being because I just don't want to. There's nothing out there that really plays to my soul and to my spirit. There's nothing out there in terms of the crowd that I would have to go to. I don't want to go to a random crowd, anything like that. But that was just all vibes, and I absolutely loved it, man. And I cannot wait for there to be another one. Like, just keep them coming, man. Like, turn the builds from the podcast to an actual community build, to a club, to a bar, to a venue. Like, that was just so much levels and shows us what we can do just by galvanizing, man. It took a bunch of men just to sit down and start a podcast, and then, you know what, I've got that skill. You know what, that venue there, you know what, I know this person. You know what, yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can do this. So yeah, Wicked Night.
Love that.
Definitely let my hair down. I dance. That music done something to my hip, my
I've got
ankle,
footage. I've got
my
footage. It's
knee.
gonna be on our website soon, by the way.
Man's got
Wow.
footage too. Yeah, man's got footage too. Yeah, and it was just nice just to be around my brothers, man, and my sisters as well, and just there's no tension. I didn't have to look around behind my back. I didn't have to watch people see who's who. Nothing like that. Everything was just peace and vibes and good on music, man. It really was. So yeah, excellent night. Where the keys at? Thanks again, and looking forward to the next one, man.
100%, 100%. The sky's the limits for them brothers there over there, man. And echo everything that you guys have said. It's obviously it is family, and it feels like a family event, man. Like you said, you don't need to turn around and because it's just everyone just gets on. There's no vibe. There's no kind of bad vibe. And I think a question, maybe a teaser question for maybe season 4, but maybe Jay, just to get your initial, just your initial thought. Is there a difference? Do you think there's a difference in our own mindset when we go out now in comparison to when we were 18, 19, 20 to if you was to go out now as 34, 35-year-old?
Yeah. I think that's really well, as you lot said, it's really on your environment when you're in a space like what you guys experienced with where the keys are old school. Like you're much more relaxed. You can actually let your hair down.
Mm.
But there's other environments where you can't because at any moment you could be one step away from, like Kay said, some random crowd. Do you know what I'm
Yep,
saying? We're not in a random crowd thing.
100%. 100%. Love that, boys. Love that. So just to recap to the listeners and viewers, it's important to find those moments, find those pockets of space where it is just for you. I know it links into some of the previous episodes that we're spoken on, whether it's the inevitable, whether it's health and wealth, uh, and mind, body, and soul. It's all connected, and hopefully, you're starting to see the path that we're trying to lay out, especially for this season. Next season, or sorry, the next episode will be the final episode of the season. I can't believe that we've got to this point. Staying at the table. That's what it will be called, and we'll be discussing several things on there and several recent experiences and journeys that we've had, along with what we've been doing over the course of the year as well. So, this for any final thoughts, really, as we always say, please, if you haven't signed up to be a member or even subscribed on our website, please www.onesaf.co.uk. You find out the latest information, but also you can listen to our podcasts on there too, and follow us on all the socials. For YouTube listeners, for the course of this video that's been playing. You'll see QR codes that links to our Instagram page and Spotify pages. So scan those if you haven't yet subscribed and followed. Nothing else for me to be said is other than thank you, gentlemen, for letting your hair down tonight. It's been a good conversation, good insight as well. And we'll be back for the finale, episode 10. We'll see you soon. Peace.